There is a phrase in ancient wisdom that holds the answer. Jnanam bandhanam, which means knowledge is bondage. It sounds strange the first time you hear it. How can the things we know ever imprison us? But by the end of the story, you may see that the heaviest chains a person carries are rarely made of iron or rope. They are made of something we learnt once and never thought to question again. Because the only limits we truly have are the limits we believe our mind is our cage. Today's story is about a traveler who journeyed across the world to stand beside real elephants for the very first time. But in a quiet camp in the green hills of Thailand, he found something far greater than the animals he came to see. He found a mirror of his own life. Because we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. And what this traveler saw in those gentle giants would force him to ask a question most of us spend our whole lives avoiding. There is deep truth in the old saying that a man often becomes what he believes himself to be. The traveler was about to learn how real that is, not from a book or a teacher, but from a thin rope and a small wooden stake. So watch the story until the very end, and as you listen, ask yourself quietly, what is the invisible rope that has been holding me in place long after I grew strong enough to break it? A traveler from a faraway land had spent his whole life seeing elephants only on screens. He had watched them in films and nature shows, looked at them in photographs, and scrolled past short videos of them on his phone. But he had never once stood beside a real one. To him, they had always been flat pictures behind glass, no more real than a painting on a wall. So when he traveled across the world and arrived at an elephant camp in the green hills of Thailand, he stepped off the van and stopped where he stood. He could hardly believe what was in front of him. Everywhere he looked, there were elephants, more than he could count. They were huge and gray, with wide ears, long curling trunks, and feet bigger than dinner plates. One of them lifted a heavy log as easily as a man lifts a stick. Another pulled a whole branch from a tree and raised it to its mouth. No screen had ever shown him how truly large and strong these animals were. Standing near them, he felt very small. Then, slowly, his wonder turned into surprise. Every one of these giant animals was held to the ground by nothing more than a thin rope. The rope was looped around one leg and tied to a small wooden stake pushed into the earth. The ropes were thinner than his own arm. The stakes were so small that he was sure he could pull one out with 2 fingers. Yet, not one of the elephants tried to walk away. They stood calmly, swaying a little, as if the tiny stakes beside them were heavy iron chains. The traveler could not understand it. He found an old mahout, a man who had spent his whole life caring for these animals, and asked him plainly, any one of these elephants could break that rope without even trying. They could go anywhere they wished. Why do they all stay tied to such a small thing? The keeper smiled, the way a person smiles when he has answered the same question many times before. He looked out at the great animals with kind eyes. They stay, he said, because of what they learned when they were young. When each elephant was only a baby, small and weak, no stronger than a young child, it was tied with the same kind of rope, to the same kind of stake. Back then, the rope really was strong enough to hold it. The little elephant pulled and pulled. It strained against the rope in the heat of the day, again and again. But no matter how hard it tried, the rope held. Day after day, the young elephant fought the rope, and day after day, the rope won. In time, the little one stopped fighting, not because the rope had grown stronger, but because something inside the elephant had changed. A single thought had taken root in its mind and stayed there. This rope cannot be broken, so there is no use in trying. The years passed. Each calf grew into a giant. Its legs became as thick as tree trunks. Its shoulders grew strong enough to push over a tree. The rope that had once held it was now nothing at all, as weak as a thread against a mountain. But because the elephant had stopped believing it could ever be free, it never pulled on the rope again. It did not even try. They do not stay because the rope is strong, the keeper said softly. They stay because they no longer believe they can be free. The rope does not hold their leg anymore. It holds their mind. The traveler stood there for a long time, watching the great animals as the sun went down behind the hills. One by one, the elephants shifted their weight, breathed out slowly through their trunks, and settled once more beside the small wooden stakes they had long ago decided they could never leave. And as he watched, the traveler began to think not about the elephants, but about himself. He too carried ropes he could not see. Long ago he had tried something, failed, and slowly come to believe he simply was not able. He had stopped trying and never tested that limit again, even as he grew. Like the elephants, he was no longer the small, weak person who had first failed. Yet he still lived as if that old defeat were true. Then he understood. It was not the rope that held the elephant. It was what the elephant knew. Its certainty that the rope could not be broken. That single old piece of knowledge had become the real chain. The very thing it had learned was the thing that now held it fast. He turned to leave with one quiet thought. The limits we believe in can hold us more tightly than any chain. So before we ever decide that something is impossible, we should test it once more and find out whether the rope still holds us or only the memory of it. For the strength to break free may already be within us, waiting only for the courage to try. The elephant in the story was never truly held by the rope. It was held by a single belief, formed when it was small and weak. I cannot break free. The rope had long stopped being strong enough, but the elephant had stopped fighting it. And this is the quiet tragedy of so many human lives. We are not held back by what is actually impossible. We are held back by what we have decided is impossible. The Buddha said it simply, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts, and with our thoughts, we make the world. And again, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. The elephant became what it believed, small, helpless, unable. And so do we. When we tell ourselves we are not smart enough, not strong enough, not good enough, we are not describing reality. We are building a cage. As the writer Richard Bach put it, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. What once held you may no longer hold you. The elephant was right to give up as a calf. The rope genuinely was stronger than it then. The failure wasn't in stopping. It was in never checking again once it had grown. We do the same. We carry forward conclusions from a weaker, younger, less capable version of ourselves and treat them as permanent truth, never noticing how much we've changed. Defeat becomes a belief, and the belief becomes the real cage. One failure is an event. Repeated failure can quietly become an identity. This can't be done. I'm not the kind of person who can. Once that thought settles in, we stop trying, and the not trying is what actually keeps us stuck. The rope holds the leg for only a season. The memory holds it for life. Freedom usually begins with a single, honest pull. The elephant could be free the moment it chose to lean into the rope again. The lesson isn't, you can do anything. It's gentler and truer. Don't let an old verdict decide your present without re-examining it. Strength you didn't have then may already be yours now. The only way to find out is to test the thing you've assumed you can't move. Think about your own life for a moment. What did you try once, long ago, that did not work? Maybe you failed an exam, faced a rejection, lost something that mattered, or heard someone tell you that you would never amount to much. And maybe, like the elephant, you pulled against that rope a few times, felt it hold, and quietly stopped trying. But here is the truth you may have forgotten. You are no longer the small, weak version of yourself that first failed. You have grown. You have learned. The rope that held you then may be nothing more than a thread today. Limits, like fears, are often just an illusion, kept alive only because we refuse to test them. This is the deeper meaning of that ancient phrase, knowledge is bondage. The very thing the elephant learned became the chain that held it. What we know about ourselves, our certainty about what we cannot do, is often the prison we never think to question. But Emerson reminds us that what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. The strength to break free is already inside you. It always has been. So here is what you can do, starting today. Pick one rope, one thing you decided long ago that you simply could not do, and test it again, just once. Apply for the thing you assumed you would never get. Speak the words you have been too afraid to say. Begin the work you convinced yourself you were not capable of. You may be surprised to find the stake lift out of the ground with the gentlest pull, because it always seems impossible until it is done. So whatever rope you have been tied to, pull against it one more time and never give up. Don't be bound by yesterday's limits. The strength to break free may already be there, waiting for you to try. Now I want to hear from you. What is one invisible rope you have been tied to for too long? One limit you are finally ready to test. Write it in the comments below. And let it become a promise you make to yourself today. We create these wisdom stories for all of us. Most of us are already wise enough to know these truths deep down. We have simply forgotten them somewhere along the way, buried beneath the noise and rush of busy life. Through these stories, we try to bring back a little hope, a smile, a moment of happiness and quiet joy. And we need your support to spread that happiness to the world. If this story spoke to something inside you, please like and share this with you, so it can reach someone who has been standing still beside a stake they have long outgrown. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so we can keep walking this journey of reawakening forgotten wisdom together. I'll be back again with another powerful story. Until then, be patient, stay grateful, and remember, the rope that once held you may have no hold on you at all. The strength to break free has been within you all along. You only have to try.